fell in love with the girl with fireflies in her eyes. Liking boys felt like an obligation of being a teenage girl, something I performed out of habit, like remembering to smile in photos or pretending to care about homecoming kings. I'd kissed 2 boys by sophomore year. Both times I wiped my mouth afterward, confused by the hollow feeling sitting in my chest. I thought something was wrong with me. So why was I in love with the head cheerleader, Rosie? I'd noticed her the first day of junior year. She was laughing at something her friend said, head thrown back, completely unselfconscious. And when her gaze swung across the hallway and landed on me, something in my chest cracked open. Why did she make me feel like I was flying? Why did butterflies swarm in my gut every single time she walked past me in the hallway, every time I heard her name?
Rosie casually asked me if I wanted to go to the movies on Friday. Long braids falling over her shoulders, glistening golden skin, a noticeable blush blooming across her cheeks. She was trying to avoid my gaze. If you want to, or whatever. Yes, I said without thinking. Those fucking fireflies, that ignition of dancing light in her eyes were taunting me. I'd only ever noticed it up close, a warm, living glow behind her irises, like something small and brilliant lived inside her, moving. Rosie's smile made me feel like I was suffocating. She winked and left me breathless. I wasn't sure when we became one. One date at the movies, her fingers brushing mine over the popcorn, both of us pretending it was accidental, neither of us pulling away. One kiss in the parking lot afterward, her back against my car, my heart hammering so loud I was certain she could hear it. When we finally pulled apart, she pressed her forehead to mine and laughed, small and breathless, and said, "I've been wanting to do that since the first day of junior year." Making out in the backseat of her car on rainy Saturdays, watching Buffy on her iPad, transfixed by the fireflies. I watch the show but keep stealing glances at her, that impossible warm glow in her eyes, trying to understand what I was looking at. We spent the rest of junior year folded into each other. On the night of our senior prom, Rosie told me she'd been accepted to a college, halfway across the country. Her eyes were careful when she said it, watching my face. She'd been sitting on the news for 3 days. I could tell by the way she wouldn't quite look at me, the same way she wouldn't look at me outside my locker. Except this time, there was no blush, no hopeful smile, just dread. I felt the world tilt. Everything I'd built, every morning she drove me to school, every night she fell asleep on my shoulder, every small and ordinary perfect moment, I felt it all threaten to fall off the edge of something. I shouted at her, because even thinking about losing her felt like drowning. "You should have told me," I said, my voice cracking on the last word. "You knew for 3 days and you said nothing." "I was scared," she said, quietly. "I was scared of this exact thing." "So you just... what? You were just gonna leave?" "Go then," I stubbornly told her, refusing to meet her gaze. "I don't care." In the corner of my eye, that warm glow of fireflies were bleeding down her face, tinged in her tears. Rosie looked beautiful, like moonlight captured under a starless night, her dress pooling around her, pale silver, chosen because I'd told her once that she reminded me of moonlight. I'd forgotten I'd said that. She hadn't. "Fine." She opened the car door and stepped out. "Have fun being moody," my girlfriend said, snatching her bag. "I'm going to dance with my friends." The careening truck slammed straight into her. I don't remember anything but the long, winding split of red on the road, where Rosie had unraveled. I sat, paralyzed, on the sidewalk. A glow of red and blue lights ignite the night around me. Everything was slow, raw. There was blood slick on my hands where I'd found most of her. I don't remember moving. I don't remember screaming. I only remember my hands. Rosie's eyes were dark, empty. The fireflies were gone. A boy slumped down beside me. Letterman jacket. Different school.
He smelled like rain and wood smoke, and for a disorienting moment, I thought I recognized the cadence of his breathing. Steady, careful, like someone trying very hard to remain calm. And somehow, those butterflies returned with vengeance, that sickening nausea twisting in my gut. Not the warm flutter of falling in love, something older, something that felt like warning. The boy pulled off his jacket with a groan before gently throwing it over my shoulders. "We should have gone to prom," he whispered. I already rejected my acceptance letter. I was going to stay. Something in me unraveled. The world began moving again. Black and white bled into color. The boy was completely unremarkable. Dull brown curls, freckles, the kind of face you'd forget in a crowd. Nothing about him should have made me feel anything. But his eyes, fireflies, ignited in the boy's eyes, dancing in his pupils. "Sorry," he smiled sheepishly. "Do you want me to find a girl instead?" The question made me feel sick, not from cruelty, but from the casual familiarity of it, as though he knew exactly what I preferred and was simply offering an accommodation.
Rosie. I choked up her name like bile. He nodded, resting his head in his lap, staring at the space between his shoes. When I was 12, I was a boy called Noah. A man took me from my room. I don't remember what happened to me. He took me straight home the day after, so I don't really count it as abduction. He paused, breathed. A long silence stretched between us, filled only with the distant sob of sirens and the creak of the settling night. His head snapped up, firefly eyes meeting mine. Then I was Rosie. I had a whole different life, a second chance. He moved closer, his hands cupping my face. Warm, unbearably warm, like holding a lit lantern. I found my voice. "What are you?" He shrugged, the casual gesture of someone who'd spent lifetimes rehearsing this explanation and never quite found the right words. "I'm a wanderer." A pause. "What does that mean?" "It means I don't stay," he said quietly. "I never stay. Not in one place, not in one body, not in one life. I wander through people, through time." He straightened, smiled before the golden glow in his eyes faded. I screamed when the boy went limp, dropping onto the concrete. I felt for a pulse before my trembling hands found blood hemorrhaging from him, warm and fast and far too much. "He's dead." A girl's voice sent me to my feet, staggering back. A blonde danced over to me, grabbing my hands. Faded tee and jeans, bloody nose. Her eyes burned, a vivid eruption of fireflies, brighter than Rosie's, brighter than the boy's. Like the entity inside her had grown stronger with each new vessel. "Prom?" She smiled, pulling me closer. "Come on, let's have fun." "What happens to them?" I demanded through the gutter of my throat. My hands trembled in hers. The blonde's eyes darkened, fireflies bleeding into her iris, a slow creep of gold swallowing the white. "I burn through them when I take over," she said, averting her gaze. "All their organs are liquefied. I'm what's keeping them alive." Tears burned my eyes, burned me. "So you're body snatching?" Hurt bloomed across her expression, a very human, very rosy kind of hurt. "No, that's not..." Her lips twisted. "Do you think I asked for this?" Her voice splintered. "I don't choose when I die. I don't choose when I wake up in a new body. I didn't choose to fall in love with you and then get hit by a truck." A beat. "I'm sorry. Really, I am. But we can just start over." I turned and walked away, back to my dead girlfriend, who I fell for, back to Rosie. I thought I could move on. I went to college 3 states away, on purpose, with the intention of becoming someone new. I studied literature. I read books about grief. I went to a therapist named Dr. Okafor, who had kind eyes and a yellow notepad, and who never once asked me to close that chapter. I was grateful for that. I made friends. I went to parties. I slept well, sometimes, and badly other times. In college, I found a girl, Amy. She had dark eyes, no fireflies, and she laughed at all my terrible jokes. I let myself feel something. I let it be small and careful and real. In the middle of our date, she went limp suddenly, her head snapping up, fireflies bleeding across her eyes, a ribbon of red running from her nose. Her body trembled, twitching. I left Amy on the patio without a word and did not go back. I called Dr. Okafor from the parking lot. He stayed on the phone with me for 40 minutes. The fireflies took over my parents. First, my mother, during a Sunday phone call when her voice went strange and the familiar golden warmth bleeded into her eyes through the camera. My parents recovered. The wanderer burned through them too fast to hold on. After years of therapy and a fear of light, particularly golden light, particularly the light of fireflies in jars, of certain phone screens in dark rooms, of Christmas lights strung low and close, I fell for a woman in a coffee shop in my 30s. Her name was Clara. She had silver-streaked hair and paint permanently under her fingernails, and she asked for my number by sliding her business card across the table with a quiet, "In case you want to see my work." Her eyes were brown. Just brown. No glow. No warmth. It wasn't entirely human. I checked every single day for 2 years before I stopped checking. We had a baby through IVF. I named her Rosie. One night, I sat on the edge of our bed, my baby cradled in my arms. She was 3 weeks old. She smelled like powder and something sweeter underneath, something I couldn't name and didn't try to. I had learned over many years not to look for meaning in things I couldn't name. Clara was downstairs, making tea, humming something formless and off-key. Normal sounds. Safe sounds. I looked away for just a second, glancing at my phone. A text notification lit up my phone. "Home soon. Love you." Rosie suddenly jerked in my arms. Her eyes blinked open, and speckled golden lit up her pupils. Slowly, like an ember catching. Finally, my baby whispered, strangled and wrong, lips splitting into a grin. Blood ran freely from her mouth. "I found you." I did not scream. I held my daughter, this tiny, warm, breakable thing, and I looked into the fireflies burning inside eyes that had only existed for 3 weeks, and I understood something I had spent 15 years refusing to understand. The Wanderer didn't come back because it was obsessed. It came back because I kept naming things after her. I kept calling it home. My voice, when it finally came, was very quiet. "Rosie," I said, "you're going to hurt her." The fireflies flickered. A pause, genuinely uncertain. Something I'd never seen from them before. "You always hurt them," I continued. "Every single one. You burned through Noah. You burned through a boy with brown curls who'd already decided to stay. You burned through Amy, who'd done nothing wrong. You burned through my parents." My arms tightened, almost imperceptibly, around the bundle in them. "And now you're burning through my daughter." "If you love me," I whispered, "let her go." The baby went still. Then she cried, a real, ragged, furious newborn cry, and the golden light vanished from her eyes completely, leaving behind nothing but brown. Just brown. Clara's footsteps on the stairs, the creak of the door. "Hey, is she okay?" I looked up. Clara in the doorway, mug in hand, paint on her wrist. "She's okay," I said. "She just got scared." I looked back at my daughter, Rosie. Just Rosie. Outside the window, somewhere in the dark yard, a single firefly blinked on and then blinked out and did not come back.